Welcome to TW Sports Talk, everybody. And I guess today is like a funeral edition of sorts for the 2014 Philadelphia Eagles season, since obviously they are officially out of the playoff race after this week, after what went down against the Washington Redskins, of course, and of course Dallas locking up the NFC East this past week. So that is basically, that essentially puts a wrap on the season officially, as far as any kind of playoff race or whatever. So,
oh God, these are suffering, and this is our moment of great despair.
Losing three straight for the
first 0-3 in December.
Right. It's kind of ironic. Like I hate to say it, but it's like they had the December collapse that everybody thought Dallas was going to have this year. You know,
I did not think that was going to collapse this year.
Well, not collapse, but hey, Dallas now, they're on a 3-game winning streak. Ever since they lost to Thanksgiving, they're on a 3-game winning streak, and whereas the Eagles,
they also had the best quarterback for the month of December. Romo leads the league in December with, I think, a 94 QBR. Guess who's second? Eli Manning.
Right now, yeah.
So, and also Romo leads the league in total QBR for the season.
Really?
He's ahead of Manning. Yeah. He's ahead of Brady. He's ahead of Rodgers. He has an 84 QBR. That's higher than all those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Mark Sanchez has like a solid 55.
Yeah.
Then Nick Foles maybe was 65 as well. So, yeah. And they're like way on the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, not only that, Romo just broke the Troy Aikman all-time yards record for the Cowboys and everything.
Well, I knew that was going to happen eventually.
That was eventually going to happen. But
he's been putting up yards faster than Aikman ever has in his career.
Yeah.
So that was going to happen, especially the Cowboys for years being a pass-happy offense, and now all of a sudden they finally found a running game this year.
Right.
And all of a sudden now this team is just winning.
Yeah. They had at least the past few weeks certainly, and they have a chance to finish 12-4 here. Well, pretty good chance, but it'll be interesting to see how some of these other teams maybe they fare against. But we could talk about that later maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I guess later on in the show as we talk about the playoffs that the Eagles will not be a part of this season. And it's this is losing this game. There's a lot of criticisms you can have, but I think overall, right now, the future does not look very bright right now for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just because that they won't be in the playoffs now, but if you just look across the board and a lot of the issues that they have, and the positions that they need to fill, and guys like on the offensive line that are getting older, that they might have to fill soon again, those positions. So, and obviously a quarterback, I guess it maybe looks like Foles will probably get another go-round next year, whether anybody, likes it or not. Yeah. So, I guess it's, for Nick Foles fans, I guess it's pretty good.
Especially if you're that percentage that still believes that this would not have happened if Foles was the quarterback.
Yeah.
Which once again, I'm just saying. No.
Not sure about
No, because there's nothing that guy showed this year that would maybe said it would have showed me that this would have not have happened.
Yeah, the thing is, it
wasn't like Nick played great against Washington either.
Right. Yeah, which is why when Sanchez came in there, nobody was really, I guess, really. I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? No one was fearing when Sanchez had to come in there because Foles had not really played well up to that point, anyways.
Oh, you can't. There was talk of he's going to replace Nick as the starter. He'll be. It's the resurgence of Mark Sanchez's career, and all of a sudden it's just he's a glorified backup for the rest of his career.
Right,
He's signified that very clearly this season. Yeah. And he still has one more game yet against New York. It was good.
Yeah.
The quarterback with the second highest QBR in December.
Yeah.
One of the most touted wideouts so far this year.
Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah.
Who's probably facing one of the worst corners in the league.
Yeah.
Who somehow might still have a job next year for Philadelphia, it sounds like.
Yeah.
if you got to believe anything Chip Kelly's saying in this press conference.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the writing. I mean, for me, I mean, the writing's on the wall when it comes to the secondary, and I mean, you know, I know how you bring up that maybe that some of the big free agent guys won't want to come here, and I mean, yeah, I mean, whether they do or not, I mean, obviously they have a lot of positions of need in that secondary to fill, and if they don't, I mean, you know.
Well, here's the one area too that they could keep in mind here, because Chip made it very clear who's in charge of personnel in this press conference. He is.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of been a fact all season. Let's keep in mind here too. Yeah, we have probably a massive cap space this year. We had a pretty decent cap space last year too, and we barely used any of it.
$30 million or whatever it was.
Yeah, but how did Chip spend it? He got Sproles.
That was basically
and maybe the only defensive weapon he ever tried to go after was Malcolm James. Once again, looked at the Saints, his Saints resume, wasn't really like a standout. He was like a standout at the corner at his position.
Not a weapon.
He was a weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't know. Do we really sign Sproles to a 1-year deal too? I mean, I'm trying to think here.
I'm not sure. I have to look that up, but I mean, I could imagine that they would have. I mean, you know, because again, he's getting up there in age.
He's gonna be 32 next year.
Yeah. So if it was a 1-year deal, I mean, it's probably smart. But yeah, and again, I mean, especially in recent weeks, I mean, they haven't really used Sproles much other than special teams. Look, you know, because to show you how much does that pay off.
People have said for a while, because I keep hearing a lot of people say, "Well, Sproles really took off in the first few weeks of the season." Okay, the beginning of the season, how is he going to be able to stay healthy for the full season there?
Yeah.
You know, would the age catch up to him pretty much? I think what happened was the age caught up to him. I think at the age of 31, I think he can't maintain a full season.
Maybe,
you got to use him sporadically.
Yeah.
And I think what happened was we used him too much early in the year. I think he took a lot of bumps and bruises, and I think the team just not feel comfortable using him towards the end down the line because his age.
Yeah.
Which is always why I think the chart. Come on, this was the franchise guy for San Diego for so long at the running back position. I think for maybe 9 years.
Yeah.
And then they let him go. Then the Saints picked him up because they thought maybe he could show some resurgence. And he showed some of that, but then again, he also was very consistent. His age was starting to play a factor. And all of a sudden, Chip thought he could maybe use something with this guy here. Now, he used him sporadically as well.
Yeah. Quite frankly, they probably needed him those first few games.
Yeah. But once again here, I mean, I never looked at the Sproles deal as. I mean, I would say I would this way. When we signed Darren Sproles, there was already a lot of talk of here's the missing piece to a Super Bowl championship team building this.
This guy's a special dude right here.
Yeah, that's what.
Now Sproles is pretty much he's winding down his career clearly.
Yeah.
It's clearly showed this year that this guy cannot go a full season in the NFL.
Yeah. I guess that's at least what we're supposed to think because
I
mean
I don't know why. I mean
that's
unless you know. Kelly thought it would be great just using him as a decoy when he would be out there with McCoy and that. Who's going to get the ball or whatever. You know, kind of deal. I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, the guy's still 31. And like I said,
he's a little guy.
One thing to say about the punt return deal too is that look, the guy, even though he's had a few big punts this year for touchdowns, punt return's a dangerous position.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah,
it's and for a guy who's 31 to be back there. Taking some pretty nasty hits in that. I don't know how your durability is going to be for a whole season, especially doing that a whole season.
Yeah. And
once again, that's one reason why I was questioning Chip and having Darren Sproles return our punts this year.
Yeah.
I mean, but like I said, who knows here? I mean, and honestly, I'm done with Chip.
Yeah, I mean,
for me, the ship is sinking. It's done. It's not going to get clogged. It's not going to get fixed as long as he's still the head coach.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, now it just really looks bleak right now.
And that press conference did not change my opinion at all. And I had this opinion, if you remember, during my massive rant on Facebook. I think it was only week 6 in the season that I did not like this team's formula. Did not like what Chip was doing. Did not like what Billy Davis was doing. And all of a sudden, sure enough, it came back, and all of a sudden, it showed loud and clear the last 2 weeks that these two guys clearly have lost a little bit of touch with reality of the situation.
Yeah. I mean, right now, certainly, definitely, talent is an issue. Like, to me, that's going to be a big issue. If they can, fill this talent again, I don't know. I mean, essentially they're going to have to fill this talent, and hopefully, they learn that, talent beats all. I guess people say culture beats or whatever.
I don't know what Deshaun Jackson said to Chip that pissed him off.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I mean, they kept Riley Cooper after that whole public relations issue that could have happened.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And it's like,
so after Riley Cooper gets drunk and says the N-word sporadically there, no.
You got big public.
We can, and it only goes
they keep him, and then not only
him.
that, after the season, they resign, $5 million or whatever.
I don't know what he said. Clearly, it was something that made management decide to post a photo of him and supposedly two friends who might have been gang members, just trying to say that he might be related to gang-related activity, even though the man does not have a criminal record on his resume.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like we still have no idea. And the fact that still to this day there are people in this Eagles locker room here that even on Sunday would go over to the sideline and pretty much say stuff as, "Dude, we miss you, dude."
I was watching the game, like Deshaun Jackson getting tackled or whatever, and then I see a couple of Eagle defenders going up and picking him back up, and I'm wondering like,
And
that
like I said,
seems very telling.
You know what? And I told you earlier, I think Chip's doing with the divided locker room. I think there are people
right now.
who are,
I can imagine right now,
especially now, because I got to ask you this question too. No matter how much power of how much authority they gave him on personnel, if this team missed the playoffs last year, assuming we lost the Dallas at the end of the year, and Chip said we had to get rid of Jackson, would management have balked and said, no, Chip, no, we're not getting rid of our best player.
Yeah,
especially after we missed the playoffs last year.
Right.
Like I said, did maybe winning the division increase this guy's ego a bit? Did maybe he think?
I mean,
maybe because
10-6 the first year or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. No, but we made the playoffs last year though, so we had a playoff team coming in this year.
And I mean,
so he just think maybe, we actually have a solid team already. We just need a few puzzles here and there instead of saying, oh shit, we actually are. We still have a lot more gaps we got to fill in yet here, and we probably got rid of a massive gap getting rid of Jackson. Obviously, I don't care what anybody says. Chip can ignore it all he wants to. That move is already inflicting a negativity on his legacy as coach of this franchise.
Yeah, it probably is. And I mean, did you hear? I mean, the press conference yesterday, he was talking about his offense and how he said it's like really productive or whatever. And
they led the league in turnovers this year.
Well, yeah, that's one thing, obviously. But I mean, and even just they weren't so productive against Seattle, obviously. Which
mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, mediocre is, I guess, one way to sum it up. But I mean, and against that Seattle defense, I mean, that's like the standard right there.
Yeah.
To be measured against in this league as far as your offense goes and how and that kind of showed, maybe how far. I mean, maybe Mark Sanchez won't be playing here next year, but
no.
But still, I mean, that kind of goes to show you where you're at right now, I guess, with as far as offensive production goes. Here in the NFL.
Like I said, honestly, for me, that Seattle game was 24-7 because if it wasn't for a muffed punt by one of the most consistent punters in the NFL for Seattle, I doubt Philly scores that drive as easily as they did because they were pretty solid territory to kick it off there. But like I said, the Jackson call at the beginning of the year, and look, originally I kind of agreed with Chip, but then again, I also was buying the whole criminal activity deal in it. But then I'm hearing well, Jackson doesn't have criminal activity, and I also hearing it's actually more about how Deshaun just was not buying Chip's whole. And actually, we don't really have details yet, but there's been stuff coming out here saying look, one of the things Jackson had a problem with this whole idea of in the offseason, Chip wants these guys to still be doing this, and this. He wants to know what they're eating and what they're doing.
It's very monitored.
Monitored.
Very monitored
and
situation.
Deshaun's saying, dude, it's the off season. I'm off. It's a day off for me, and and Jackson supposedly was saying, look, dude, you ain't been in the league for 1 year. I've been in the league longer than you. I know I know it's the venue, and clearly in Chip's mind, he knows best. He's the coach. Yeah. He's in charge of personnel.
Knows best. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, that's just one story that's come out. That's supposedly is one example where Deshaun and Chip had a heated argument. Yeah. With Deshaun squad saying, dude, you're going to kill this franchise here. You monitor these guys too much like they're college kids.
Yeah.
And these are grown men who have families and are professional in that. You're gonna have a lot more enemies in this locker room than friends, pretty much. And trust me, as a new guy, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So like I said, if that story's to be believed, you can see why.
Yeah.
Chip go with Deshaun because A, he was questioning authority, but B, you could see also why doing that could easily cause a locker room problem because But then at the same time, somebody would also say, how many other prima donnas here? Marshawn Lynch for Seattle, for example.
Right.
Seattle might still get rid of him this year, but still.
He might retire. Yeah, he might even retire.
We're not letting him go this year, though. We're still going to keep him.
Yeah.
We're going to fight for all this drama in the locker room here. We're not going to scrap everybody who's had any problem in that.
Yeah, like a few weeks ago, he's like, what was it, in the Kansas City game or whatever?
Yeah.
He didn't go back to the locker. It was like 7 degrees outside, and he's just laying on the bench during halftime, and it's and yet he's out there.
But
it's crazy.
But get my point though. They didn't just say, okay, you know what, screw it. We're cutting
right,
Marshawn Lynch right there. No, granted, did they cut Harvin early in the year? But I've been hearing that might have been a smarter move.
Well,
at
least, since they cut him, I mean, it really hasn't hurt him, obviously.
But like I said, Pete Carroll has NFL experience. He's been in a locker room pre-USC.
Yeah.
Chip has zero NFL experience.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. And it sounds like he's running this franchise like he's running Oregon. Exactly.
It's starting to feel like it, yeah.
As far as monitoring players very closely, what are they eating? What are they doing? Are they training well here? Practice? Are they going 100% or 90%, 80%? Yeah. Are they getting enough sleep in there? It's like this is sounding almost like he's in charge of a college dorm room.
Yeah.
And these are college athletes he's talking to here. Yet these guys are getting paid almost as much as him, or even some cases more than him.
Yeah.
And I can see how in Deshaun Jackson's case, you would get pissed off about this year. Because you have been in the league for a very long time. Longer than your head coach is. And here's your head coach, you're trying to say, well, worked at Oregon. And you're trying to say, that was college. Yeah. This is professional.
Yeah. Don't
treat the athletes like college students.
Yeah. There's a lot of, and there's a lot of blurred lines, too, when it comes, like remember the picture on Deshaun Jackson's Twitter feed last, with Chip Kelly and a fly swat, it's like, this is all I have to say about my relationship with, Chip. And I don't know. But
the picture says anything. I think what you're trying to say is Chip's whole belief is, I can just swat a few of these, I can swat a Jackson out of the way and this out of the way.
You can look at it.
And we'll still be fine. We'll still be fine
here. Look at, I mean, you could take that different ways, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, points like that can be well taken, and it's going to be a big, really telling offseason here.
I mean, like I said earlier, I get Jackson's an emotional guy. You know what? Many guys are emotional guys in this league here. Brady's a very emotional guy in that here. So, if you ever watch, especially against the who was it? San Diego. F-bomb here, here, and there. Emotion,
competitive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you think you would want that in a locker room? Someone who's very competitive, someone who's going to try to be better each week in that. And apparently, Chip's case, Jackson's too emotional for his locker room here.
Yeah.
In that you couldn't monitor him, you couldn't control him in that. But at the same time, there, I mean, I don't know how you look at that, and also once again here, how you don't deter some guys from wanting to play for this team here in the future.
Right. Yeah, you got. I mean, the thing is, like, the whole thing, Deshaun Jackson was burning Bradley Fletcher this game. A few big plays, drawing penalties. Hopefully, obviously, this offseason, I mean, he's basically going to have to learn. Obviously, that was a mistake, releasing Deshaun Jackson and whatever. You didn't get anything for him.
Yeah.
You have Riley Cooper out there. He's not cutting it. I mean, Chip can say what he wants, but, Bradley Fletcher. And
he's really been defending Fletcher in that press conference.
Yeah, I mean, which he's done in the past. Like, he's said things, but he'd do something different.
And like I said, I get it. I always knew the guy was arrogant. And I'm not saying arrogant's bad. Bill Belichick is a very arrogant coach.
Yeah.
So arrogant can work, but I'm hearing stuff here, and it sounds like this guy's got to take a. If there's one thing that has to change, he has to change himself here.
Smugness, yeah.
He's got to be really open-minded to changes in the playbook. It sounds like. I mean, the way it sounds like him and Billy Davis have a very solid relationship. Good, they sound like the exact same person though. Billy Davis will not change any formation in the defense whatsoever. We're going to stick to what I know. Yeah. And because it's worked in the past, it will work. It will work here. It doesn't matter what the talent we have in the field. It doesn't matter what the 11 guys are. It will work because it's worked in the past. And that's Chip's argument. We're not going to slow down because our defense is tired or because we're losing time possession. It worked in Oregon.
Yeah.
It always worked in Oregon,
Yeah.
so it's gonna work here.
I think part of the problem is the talent too. Is just when they go 3 and out, it's horrible because
Less than a minute.
Yeah, it's high risk, high reward, and everything, and defense comes right back out. So it'd be nice if they had more talent, maybe, but yeah, certainly when you don't have the talent, sometimes things like that are going to happen.
Here's the sad part here is that once again, if we had Jackson, well, this offense may have been clicking better.
Yeah, because again, the whole Riley Cooper left side of the field is like irrelevant.
Keep in mind, would Riley Cooper be still like last year's Riley Cooper? Do you still have high production? Because once again, you'd have not just Jackson but Macklin on the field, probably to stretch in the field. So Cooper's going to get open on plays. Right. He's going to get open.
Yeah.
So once again here, it's like, you say we don't have talent? We lost talent, and we might lose more talent next year if they don't.
Right.
Give because what's Macklin going to want? He's going to want to make as much as Cooper or more than Cooper because he said I have played the hell out of this guy this year.
Yeah, exactly. He deserves the
same position, so I would get paid more.
Right.
Well, then he was going to say, well, we get you, Jeremy, but we gave Riley a lot of money. He's going to want to either cut his pay, renegotiate, which they can do, or sorry, we're stuck with this guy and his money here. We can't, we can't get rid of him in that. Like I said, we got to pick who our quarterback's going to be next year yet. That guy's going to want. Foles is going to want to raise no matter what. He's not going to take a rookie salary next year.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years you're going to get him, but he's going to want to raise. So that's going to open up the money bank a bit. You're going to have a lot of defensemen, the contracts up. They're going to want something too. Yeah. Obviously, you're not going to keep all of them there, but you're going to keep some of them. You can't get rid of your entire backfield and hope you're going to expect to fill it with rookies in the draft or a free agent out there. This team has a lot. The key thing I think right now is you got to keep Macklin somehow. I don't care how you do it. Whatever he wants, you give him.
Yeah.
Because if you lose Macklin, I don't know how you can convince this fan base that just Jordan Matthews and Riley Cooper at wideout. I don't care when people say about Josh Huff. He's a fluke.
Right now, yeah.
He's a bust. You can say that almost our entire draft class, really.
He's only even been a part-time player anyways right now.
Jordan Matthews has shown promise here and there, but even then, he's a young kid, though. He's not ready for prime time yet. Yeah. So if Chip's reason is, well, we can get rid of Macklin and just plug Matthews in there because Matthews did great last year, probably because once again Macklin was doing so well, and put all this pressure on this young kid to just deliver all of a sudden, you could break a guy easily that way.
Yeah,
mentally. So it's good. I'd be curious what the Philly fan base will become next fall because I don't know if it's going to be as positive as it was this year.
Probably not. Yeah, probably not.
And especially once again, if Chip doesn't use up the cap space that he's going to be given,
right? Yeah,
because that's one of the main reasons last year is that we didn't make a whole lot of plays in the offseason despite all the cap space we had.
Yeah,
and if we lose like a Macklin and so on, we'll have more cap space than we had last year.
Yeah.
So if we don't even use that up, it really has to make you question Chip making personnel decisions.
Right? Because now it's like this year, it's like we take a step backwards. Whether they finish 10-6 or not, it doesn't really matter. Because Dallas,
clearly Chip's mentality. Chip's mentality still is that we're gonna try to win this game. Pretty much, is what he's saying. Like,
and it's like, who cares?
Who cares?
I'm like,
Season's over, dude.
It's like, we got the Giants next week. It's like nobody's talking about it. Everybody's mind is in the off season and how and like the disappointment.
No one cares.
That the season, yeah, exactly. And he said we try to get to
New
10
York
wins.
might care because it might be Coughlin's last game in the NFL, so they might be motivated.
And just because they got a little win streak going too, and Del Beckham Jr. is looks like he's got a great future ahead of him in the NFL, and
especially if Cruz can bounce back from that injury.
Oh yeah,
New York have a solid wideout next year. Yeah. Still haven't fixed their running game yet. They got to fix some stuff on defense yet, but they might have they might actually have a solid foundation, I think, in New York yet. Despite maybe having a new coach come in, it looks like.
Right, yeah.
Washington, I don't know. RG3 showed some promise against Philadelphia.
It seems like it's been like tough love with him. I don't know. They've been.
I think Washington might actually just hang on to him yet. I think they. Look, when you invest as much as you have,
right, exactly.
all the trades, all the draft picks you gave up to get this guy here, I don't know why you just abandoned him there because you had a rocky roller coaster year in that. He showed some promise against Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I know there were some, Mike Missinelli in particular, pipe dream formula of we can get RG3 to Philadelphia. Great. I don't know. Once again, much like Mark Sanchez there, I don't know how much this guy's psyche has broken due to the floundering last 2 seasons of that. Again, he was the rookie of the year.
How you doing, man?
Yeah.
He was the number 2 draft pick. I get that. But I still need to see more from this guy. Positive stuff, the negative stuff. Because I think he's still a young quarterback. I think sending him into this, what could be a divided locker room.
Yeah.
And no offense here, one of the main problems with R.J. Washington is the locker room for him, supposedly. So I don't know how bringing him to Philadelphia is going to improve the locker room atmosphere.
Yeah.
He might make it worse.
Yeah, who knows? But
like I said, I don't know. And that's it's so sad. It's so sad how this team. This season was pretty much the Hindenburg in a nutshell. It took off nicely, but then all of a sudden, it got lit on fire and just crashed to the ground.
For all intents and purposes, the season ended on after that Thanksgiving game. It's basically
they were partying on the sidelines. They were celebrating. We just beat Dallas and Jerry World handily.
For all intents and purposes, looking back.
I knew firsthand that I knew we were probably going to lose to Seattle, and I knew Dallas was probably going to win out.
Yeah.
And that Thanksgiving game would be Jack then. And sure enough, I was right. I was still shocked Washington beat us. But then again, after watching that same Philly locker room celebrating Dallas, they looked so defeated in Philadelphia when Dallas beat them. They looked
they even came back and took the lead, and then just give it right back, and So it's really
and like I said, and then watching them against Washington, they played defeated the whole game.
Yeah, like that Alfred Morris
touchdown. There was barely any life in this team against Washington. Yeah. It felt like it really felt like they were playing defeated.
Yeah, and and the sad thing is too. They were right there. They had plenty of chances to win the game, and Cody Parkey misses 2 feet. Obviously,
Mark Sanchez has a big turnover late in the game. Big turnover.
And one early in the game, too. Yeah. But especially late in the game, he throws that bad interception on his back foot.
And here's another example of college versus the professional level here. How do you not let Washington score at that point?
At the end, I was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, time's an issue now.
And to be fair, the offense really did a solid job against Washington for parts of the game in that. Yeah. And you would have probably 2 minutes left, maybe 2 timeouts. That's plenty of time for this quote unquote fast offense that you believe in, Chip. And also you say, no, we're just going to keep the defense on the field. We're going to use all the timeouts. And somehow this team had a shot at a Hail Mary at the end of the game because the Washington Redskins kicker muffed a scribble punt pretty much. He hit a Eagle returner flat right in the middle, which gave Philadelphia at least enough time to throw a Hail Mary down the field yet. But still, it's just how. Once again, that's where I think Chip has a college mentality. Well, this is college. We usually don't let them score in college, and that we usually try to play defense and hold them out in that.
Yeah.
But yet, in the professional level, he'll kick a field goal, and we got 10 seconds, plenty of time.
Yeah, but certainly, unfortunately, it didn't play out that way.
No. Like I said, it makes me question whether this guy was ever ready for the NFL.
And now the thing, the thing is...
wasn't it also the same game last year he made the same mistake?
Which game?
Second game of the game last year. San Diego was driving down the field, and Chip's using timeout.
Well, not only that, the drive before that the Eagles' offense had, they could have taken up more time. They could have slowed it down.
The playoff game against the Saints.
Yeah. That too.
They really were just
could have been more.
They could have wasted some clock there because they were the 2-yard line. They were going to get in eventually. And yet we got to score fast. We got to score fast. Now,
there was a lot of time left, and there was more time in that game I think left than the San Diego one where there's only a couple minutes. But
yeah, I know, but still, it was.
But
it's crazy.
And that's one of the things that. It's 2 seasons now. You got to take inventory of this, and This will be the third off season. It'll be a big one, really.
I can tell you this: the honeymoon's over now for Chip. It's over. It's over.
Yeah, that phrase has been going around. Yeah, definitely. It's over, and
whatever lovers he has in Philadelphia are gone now.
Yeah,
it's gone. Grant, for me, the honeymoon ended kind of after the Rams game this season because I knew after that game I had a bad vibe on the team the rest of the year. Now you kind of called me out on it there, and
there was
wait for it.
Well, like Macklin, like things like Macklin not being or not having a reliable receiver.
All I said was Jackson is more of a deep threat than Macklin is. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
and I think the stats show this year that are moving the ball down the field and through the air went down this year. It was a lot of small passes. And that's because Macklin's fast, but he's not Deshaun Jackson fast.
Yeah.
So that's all my comment was saying is that this team has no deep threat this year.
Yeah.
And yet, how many times did we see Foles fall over an Ertz, a Cooper, even Sanchez overthrowing guys deep balls here because they don't have the leg strength of Deshaun in that.
Yeah.
So or the speed of Deshaun. That's all I was saying there. In that. Now, Grant, you can call up the Jason Avant one because he's not even with the Carolina Panthers anymore.
Yeah. He's
actually with the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, right now. So he's been. So his career is probably almost over.
Yeah.
Although, like I said, my main criticism of him getting cut was that he was a locker room leader. He was a veteran leader. And this is a very young locker room here, and you need to have some veteran leadership in this locker room here.
Yeah, because Vic wasn't there anymore, and to be fair, I mean, he was a good leader. I mean, he wasn't, maybe a little inconsistent at quarterback.
No, but let me give you an example. Pittsburgh they have a lot of old guys in that locker room there.
Yeah.
Who are clearly way past their prime.
Yeah, you're starting to see, in Troy Polamalu's hair, a couple gray hairs.
Yeah, but Troy Polamalu is a leader, though, in that locker room there. So why do you keep him there? Because he can do stuff off the field that no other player can do. And that's what I thought. That's what I said about Avant.
Yeah. That's what
okay, his stats will not deliver like they used to. Yes. But he can do stuff in the locker room that a young guy like a Nick Foles can't do. Or Sean McCoy can't do in that.
And they could have had him maybe in third down packages.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I was saying with the whole Avant deal is that this guy was a locker room leader clearly last year. Hell, the Minnesota game something that was great. Jackson flips out at the quarterback. Who's there to break it up? Avant. What does he do?
Yeah.
He just gives Jackson's helmet, and he just tells him to shove on the sideline. You know what? And as soon as Avant got cut,
this guy's a special dude right here.
He said, as soon as Avant got cut, I immediately said, who's going to calm Jackson down next year? It's not going to be Cooper. It's not going to be, it could be Vic, because Vic, I remember when Vic stood up for Cooper when Kerry Williams got in his face during practice one game.
Yeah.
Once again, that's something Vic can do. I don't see Nick Foles getting in those guys' faces and breaking it up. But, I mean, once again, and that's the reason why I always thought, I get Vic's career is probably over.
Yeah.
He probably is done as a starter in the NFL. He's like I said, his career, he was entertaining to watch in the beginning, but he's kind of really
2010, obviously, that was like the last, great.
And like I said, obviously the bad stuff off the field as well did not help it either.
Right,
but I mean, like I said, I thought as a locker room leader though at Philadelphia here, that he did a hell of a job.
I did.
And if there's any reason to keep him, I thought that was the main reason.
Yeah.
Foles could be the starter. But Vic could be the locker room leader there. He can maintain the peace. I think he's got that much respect in the locker room.
Yeah,
but
I think
once again, I think that's the difference between a college coach and an NFL coach. An NFL coach knows about this thing called a locker room leader.
Yeah.
There are no locker room leaders in college, really. It's really whatever the coach says goes because you're a student athlete there. You're not a paid professional here.
Yeah.
And once again, that's where he pretty much came down to the whole idea of I'm off the Chip bandwagon. I think this guy still come to the reality that this is not college.
Yeah.
You gotta handle things differently than you did at Oregon.
Yeah. Well, I think now, given what happened here with this season, I mean, he has no choice now in the off season but to obviously make do some self inventory here,
some self reflection in the mirror, maybe.
Yeah. Look in the mirror and cliches like that or whatever, but. And I mean, maybe question.
But I don't see it happening here. There's nothing in that press conference that made me think this guy's going to change any scheme that he did this year for next year.
Yeah.
No matter who he lost or who he gained, who he ends up gaining, he won't change anything.
Yeah. Well, he said things in the past, and then he's done. Then, like on the field, he's gone and done them differently, and like the Rams game when they brought up how clock management and everything. Like, why didn't maybe you milk some more clock? And he said he doesn't believe in that. But then then the Giants game the next week, they start doing like that synchronized stuff at the end of the game. It's like, all right, we're going to start running the clock down.
Well, I hope they did it against that game because you had the game won by the fourth quarter.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, exactly. So it's I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, he said last year too, like, how I like Deshaun, or when he was asked about him and there was controversy, and then a few days later, bye.
Well, his defense, even Fletcher was he was covering a great athlete. Yeah. Deshaun's a unique athlete.
So he sticks. Yeah, I mean, he sticks up for certainly his talent more than he needs to, obviously, because we know.
If Bradley Fletcher doesn't get cut. Let's go back to that press conference and some of the answer right there. Right? But he likes Fletcher.
Yeah, I mean, they have to know.
His excuse might be Fletcher's younger than Kerry Williams, so we got to give him Kerry because Kerry's different. Not to mention Kerry also spoke to the press early in the year about how chip this, chip that.
Yeah.
If you already learned from Deshaun Jackson, if you speak up to this guy here, you're probably gonna get canned. It sounds like. Yeah. Someone's got to get fired, obviously. I mean, obviously, it's either going to be Roseman, who sounds like has almost no authority over the personnel, it sounds like, which is kind of weird then. Yeah. Why is he even the GM then? Because I'm pretty sure day-to-day management is the GM's job.
He just signs the dotted lines or whatever.
Billy Davis, apparently, him and Chip are more alike than people realize. It sounds like they both don't like to change anything about their schemes or anything. So
either that, or they just try to keep things under wraps or whatever, and
yes, all this secretive stuff too. There, it's like I get it. It worked for Belichick, but Belichick also has NFL experience, and he has these things called a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
So it's like Chip
doing all these. To get another one this year.
I mean, let me keep on it. It was like Belichick when he came to New England had all this power and influence to begin with. He earned that because he won games.
Right. Yeah.
And like I said, the fact that the only way Chip was going to be in the NFL is that he had to have personnel control. He had to have this control and that control and that control and that. It blows my mind a bit.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, you can see here that there's basically been a ceiling on what he can do here really in the NFL.
Yeah.
So he needs to make adjustments, needs to get better personnel, and etc. Hopefully, I guess it's the moral of the season here, moral of the story. And that the honeymoon is over, and that it's time to get down to business.
Well, like I said, I'm done with him. I think this team's not going to get better as long as he's head coach. I mean,
I'm done with I'm done with like certain things that if they don't change, then next year, then it's like you're going to have the same problems next year as you did. So, I mean, we'll see if he
Well, like I said,
not looking
good.
Good.
How you think about it? Most of the same problems this team had last year have not changed this year. I don't know anybody would expect it would. It's the same personnel pretty much. You got a few new guys. Some guys are gone, but it's pretty much the same personnel from last year's team.
Nate Allen, what is Nate Allen still doing on this?
I don't know. But if Chip's belief of Brian Fletcher is the guy's held good of his position, it doesn't make me look confident in this guy making personnel decisions on the defense side of the ball. And I can do this for you. If almost the same personnel is back from that defense next year,
right.
I don't know why anybody would have any faith in this coaching staff anymore.
Trent Cole, they got to replace him. He's getting old.
Yeah.
Obviously, D'Amico Ryans is done. He
was getting on his age as well, and that injury did not help.
Right.
Him,
So
or actually might have convinced him that it's time to retire. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, if he wants to come back from that, he can. But
Marcus Smith better be on that damn field next year. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any of these excuses here of Marcus just is not the best guy right now. Well, why'd you draft him in the first round then, Chip?
They might as well put him out there next week. Just
because the way he's talking to Marcus Smith is that he's a third round pick. Oh, he's not ready. He's not ready. He needs more time. He's a first round draft pick, Chip. You know what a first rounder is, right?
Yeah. They might as well put him on the field next week. Because essentially it's like a preseason game next week.
Yeah.
It doesn't really mean anything. In the fact that there's no more playoffs now for this team.
Based on this interview, though, no, we're still going to play to win. We're not going to play to lose. We're not going to give up on the season.
Yeah, as if
the season's over, but no, we're not going to give up.
Yeah.
We can still win 10 games this year, the same as last year.
Yeah, who cares about? Nobody cares about winning 10 games anymore.
No.
So
you're done. The season's over.
Yeah.
Here's the key line, Tyler. The Carolina Panthers might make the playoffs this year.
Yeah. And they had a massive losing streak going, and it's hard.
But then again, once again, I think this is a team that, despite getting rid of some veterans here, they did have some veterans on this team here, though. Yeah. This team, I think Philadelphia does not have veteran leadership at all.
Yeah, and they don't
because they're all so young, pretty much. Or if there is, they get the pretty much telling the coach staff, shut up, don't say this, and this.
Yeah, they don't have like identity player Seattle. You got Richard Sherman. You got Marshawn Lynch. And I mean, to some, Russell Wilson and the things he can do. He looked great against that Arizona defense the other night.
I think Arizona's done. I think Arizona. If you're anybody right now, if Carolina makes the playoffs and their opponent's Arizona, I'm taking Carolina actually.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they might. I mean, if Detroit will probably finish with 11 wins. I mean, if they lose to Green Bay next week, and so I guess
if Arizona loses and Green Bay and Detroit loses, they have the same record.
Yeah.
Which means Arizona would be a 5th seed.
Right.
And that means they lose the NFC South Championship, which could be Carolina or Atlanta at this point. It's a winner-take-all pretty much in that matchup.
Yeah.
If it's Atlanta, I'm definitely taking the Falcons over Arizona. How they beat them in the regular season this year.
Yeah.
Atlanta did. And that offense is clicking. And like I said, I don't care if it's Ryan Lindley or Logan Thomas.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't care who they have in wide-out running back and how good that defense is for Bruce Arians. You need a quarterback.
It hurts. Yeah, it hurts not to have a.
You need a long-term quarterback there. I said when Palmer was in, he was solid. When Stanton was in, he wasn't that bad either. It didn't change anything. But you're not done your 3rd string and your rookie 4th string quarterback here. It's not gonna. I don't see it happening.
I mean, it's a bit unfortunate.
It's unfortunate because this team, I think, would have been had a legitimate shot at the 1 seed down the stretch.
Yeah.
If they didn't have all these injuries here, but. It's football. Injuries happen. You got to try to play around them here. But I think if you're anybody, whether it's Dallas or the NFC South champion right now, you want to face Arizona right now. Grant, Detroit's not a bad one either.
Right.
Because Matthew Stafford has yet to win a playoff game in his career. Yeah. And this is the Detroit Lions. This whole franchise has like a black cloud over their, over their name because just like Philadelphia, they didn't win a Super Bowl in their career, and it's kind of worse. They haven't even been to a Super Bowl in their franchise yet. So I mean, it's weird there. I mean, I guess we can switch to playoffs right now.
Yeah. Since again, the Eagles will not be in them, but
playoffs.
Yes.
Don't talk about playoffs.
Yeah.
Playoffs.
But,
I just want to win a game.
Yeah, but even without the Eagles, I mean, the playoffs in the NFL, I mean, at least they're always interesting, anyways. And,
okay, well, let's go to the NFC because we pretty much have an idea. So pretty much, if Seattle wins, they get the 1 seed.
Right.
If the Green Bay, Detroit win, whoever wins gets the 2 seed. Dallas pretty much would have the 3rd seed locked. Whether they won or lose against Washington, they have the 3rd seed locked up.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to change there. Dallas's only shot at taking the 1 or 2 seed is that they need Seattle and Arizona to lose, pretty much. And they need Green Bay, Detroit to tie.
Yeah.
And I don't see it happen. There's going to be a winner in that game. So Dallas pretty much... They got a 3rd seed. That might be good for Dallas. They might have an easy wild card opponent.
They'll probably host. Yeah, they'll probably host Arizona.
And then the playing gets 2 very good teams on the road. Then that's actually pretty good advantage for them, I think.
On the road, yeah.
Well, they've been road warriors this year.
I think, yeah.
And one of those wins is at Seattle, where this game changing might be happening.
When Seattle was very banged up, though. To be fair,
I don't know, Tyler.
With no Bobby Wagner, I think.
Okay, but
Cam Chancellor wasn't playing. I think that game
But Tyler, let's be fair here. Romo
in a revenge situation.
I'm just saying though. I get it there, but I'm sorry. I get it. It's Philadelphia. It's Dallas, but some of this Dallas team I like this year. I don't know what it is.
But
it's just they got certain talent on this team that Seattle doesn't have.
It starts with the running game, certainly.
Yes. Yeah, but like against the Colts, which by the way, that's probably the 2nd biggest win the team had this year right there. Was the Colts, who just looked pathetic against Dallas.
I mean, I don't think T.Y. Hilton played, and
Well, once again,
they have a problem with.
What is it with the Colts here? Colts in this game now,
and they're probably
at that point they have anything really to play for.
They're probably I mean,
they probably were going to save some guys for the playoffs.
That's what I mean.
What really matters.
I picked Dallas to win the game.
Yeah.
Because obviously the circumstances change when the Colts don't have as much to play.
No, but I mean, what do we see there? Even when DeMarco was not getting
right, yeah, because he had the hand.
We still had Randall, Still have Dunbar. They actually have a solid running core there.
Yeah.
You know, Des Bryant is starting to play a hell a lot better. Jason Witten had a massive game. Terrence Williams had a great game. Cole Beasley.
That and Indy's defense is not very good, obviously.
Well, yes, but yet those games we almost lost the same Colts team in week 2 in a year. It's pretty much the same defense, same team, minus T.Y. Hilton not playing in the lineup in that. But you know, I get Dallas's D, blah, 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 but this D's made solid plays when they needed to make solid plays of that. And that's despite all the injuries, all the losses. This dude has been banged up all year, too, in that. So, I'm saying, really, there's only 2 teams out there that can compete with Seattle in the playoffs. That is, right now, unless something changes week 17 that makes me say otherwise, it's Dallas and Green Bay.
Yeah. I think it's just Green. I think in the playoffs, I think Dallas will, you know, if DeMarco Murray is getting shut down a little bit at Seattle or whatever, you know.
But right now, as far as QBR goes, though, Romo's the best in the league.
Yeah, I mean, and he's been a lot of times, but he's only ever won 1 playoff game. That's what
I know, but he's also had a pathetic December, and this year he's had it's one of the best months of his career.
Yeah. And it's DeMarco Murray's having a career year, obviously.
Exactly. So it's different. This is different than it feels like this is a different team than the past of that. And once again, it sounds like I'm going cold turkey here for as a Philadelphia fan, but it's like, I'm being as honest here. I've seen just as many Dallas games here as Philadelphia games here. And almost all season, I always put Dallas as the better team than Philadelphia, more or less. It's just that there's certain holes they didn't have that Philly had this year.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I look at Seattle's defense and the way they've been playing the past, I don't know, almost couple of months.
Yes, I know, but
I think it's like 6 points per game they're holding teams to or something.
We at least concede if it's Dallas and Seattle, it's going to be a close game. It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to
it'll be Seattle at least by 10. I'll lock it down.
Okay, 10. Okay, I think it's still a pretty hefty margin there, but I can see your point. It would be at Seattle and that, but I don't know. It's just something about this Dallas team this year. I'm just saying something about this Dallas team. I probably would still go with Seattle, but I'm just saying I think it's Dallas and Green Bay. I think the rest. I don't think anybody. First of all, if it's not the Falcons, I think Carolina, even if they get by their wild card opponent, which if it's Arizona, I think they will. I think Atlanta might have a shot maybe with their offense maybe. Julio Jones can stay healthy. They might, and Matt Ryan can keep playing consistent football. Maybe Atlanta could play spoiler maybe, but I think it's pretty much Green Bay, Dallas. I don't see Detroit this year. In fact, like I said,
their defense isn't bad.
But
we'll see.
This offense, the past couple of weeks, though, even with Calvin Johnson in the lineup,
they could be questionable.
Questionable.
You never
know.
Like
I said, well, Romo has only won 1. Stafford's won 0 playoff games in his career. Like I said, Arizona, I'm sorry, not with Ryan Lindley and Logan Thomas a quarterback. They need a quarterback.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And they're not going to get one the rest of the year. They're stuck with Lindley and Thomas. That's what they're stuck with right now. That's what they got to live with for the rest of the year. There's somebody in the free agent market right now that they can pick up that's just going to fit in there and try to fix the problem. So I'm going to go Seattle 1, Green Bay 2. I think Green Bay's going to beat Detroit. I mean, especially since the Lions barely got by the Bears with Jimmy Clausen at quarterback. Just made me think that. I mean, like I said, granted, Green Bay struggled a little bit on the road again against Tampa Bay, kind of a bit. They still won 23, but it was kind of struggled a little bit. But
so if they have to go to Seattle, it's not obviously it's not a great situation.
That's what I mean. That's why I kind of wish it's Dallas and Seattle because I think that'd be a closer championship game than if it's Green Bay and Seattle.
Yeah,
just my opinion there. Just my opinion.
That's if also Dallas would get through Green Bay.
Well, yeah,
like
I said, we'll see. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If it's Dallas, Green Bay, I'd probably go Green Bay over Dallas because Green Bay's been pretty unbeatable.
I mean, they're not good.
But then again, Dallas has just been the road warriors this year.
Yeah.
They might be undefeated on the road coming into the playoffs. I mean, so it's a weird, but those would be the 3 teams to look at in the NFC: Seattle, Green Bay, and Dallas. So I'm going to go Green Bay 2, Dallas 3, 4. I'm going to go Carolina over Atlanta.
You pick,
There's probably thinking Atlanta's going to win this game here, but I don't know. Something about this Carolina team right now. Down the stretch, they've won the games they had to win to stay in the playoffs, and they're really playing very well this year. Still, how shocked is it that the Saints didn't make the postseason?
Yeah, I mean they blew it again this past week.
This was supposed to be their division this year. I mean, we talked about this early in the year that Philly was almost the unanimous pick for the division title this year in the East, but
the
Saints
seed.
were even a bigger pick. They're supposed to get 13-3, maybe get the 1 seed.
I think
possibly.
I think I had them like 12 wins or whatever.
You know what I mean?
Seed,
and I don't think they're even gonna have a winning record this year.
Yeah,
they have 9. They won't. They'll be 7-9 this year
at best. Yeah,
I think Rob Ryan's out as defensive coordinator. Clearly, him and Sean Payton do not like each other right now, and they're not getting rid of Sean Payton. So I think the Saints are getting rid of Rob Ryan this year. But I'm going to go Carolina. I don't know if you're going to go with Atlanta. Maybe
I pick Atlanta right now.
Okay.
I think
and probably going to face Arizona. I think Arizona's going to lose to San Francisco. I think the Giants going to at least try to finish the year at 500.
Yeah.
And once again, until
the closest they can.
As questionable as that team's played this year, how do you buy Arizona after that game Sunday against Seattle to win any game the rest of the year?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Arizona 5, Detroit 6. That's going to be my lineup for the NFC. Now the AFC, we already know who the 1 seed is. It's New England.
Yeah, with Denver losing last night, that locked it up for New England, and they don't have to play their starters.
And like I said, I had Denver, Seattle beginning of the year. You actually had New England.
I did, yeah.
Seattle. Then you jumped the ship.
Well, I didn't jump. I just said right now
after the Kansas City game.
Well, I didn't jump the ship. I just said right now it doesn't. You know.
And then the following week, I gave you a shot to put New England back in place there after they destroyed Cincinnati. And you said no because I still think Denver's going to hold steady the rest of the year.
Well, I at that time, I was just saying, right now this is where my
like I said, I'm still going with Denver, Seattle right now. I mean, granted, Denver, I'm really getting nervous about Payne right now.
Yeah,
I think his age finally. I think that injury at that age finally caught up to him finally, and that's the worst part of the year for that to happen.
Yeah. The arm strength might be
the AFC wild card is going to be a bloodbath, I think, this year as far as certain teams. Even depending on what teams get in and at. So, although I think they do beat Oakland, I think even though I'm really liking Derek Carr right now for Oakland. I think if they get a few more guys, I think Oakland could be a playoff team.
You saw what they did to Buffalo there. So
I mean, which probably got the Bills out of the playoffs.
Yeah, spoiled. So Raiders playing spoiler.
And like I said earlier, there if they would have won that game, based on Denver losing, New England probably the rest of their starters. They probably had a shot at 10 wins. Probably still need some help probably from Baltimore and San Diego yet, but they still would have had a better shot than just losing and getting knocked out then. So I think Denver beats Oakland still. They get the 2 seed, which still is kind of like a consolation prize. I think they really need to get the 1 seed barely to have a shot at going back to the Super Bowl this year. But New England 1, go Denver 2, 3. Well, it's either going to be Pittsburgh or Cincinnati pretty much.
It comes down to that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Pittsburgh.
I have Pittsburgh too.
I'm going to go Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because I mean Cincinnati. They just beat the Broncos. They're probably coming, feeling good about it.
And I'm not going to lie. It's Pittsburgh as a 3 seed. Them against Denver, even on the road. That's good.
That's a good game. Yeah,
that's going to be an interesting matchup there. Ben Roethlisberger has had a great season. Antonio Brown as a wideout this year.
Obviously one of the best in the league.
Bell at running back. I mean, the defense is kind of getting up there in age and that, but once again, they got
they're on offense. They're more of an offensive team right now.
Like I said, they got age problems, but they're probably one of the most veteran teams in the NFL right now. They have a very veteran coach, Mike Tomlin. Once again, has a Super Bowl ring attached to his name, so they could play spoiler. I think in the AFC, believe it or not, right now. I think 4 would be Indy, and if there's any team in the wild card that right now I have no faith in winning a playoff game right now, it's Indy right now.
Yeah, I mean they'll host. They're pretty much locked in. Where they're at.
They would probably face the Bengals if Pittsburgh would win. Since they would lock the 5th seed.
The Bengals.
I don't know if Pittsburgh loses. If Pittsburgh will also still have the 5th seed locked up. I don't know what their tiebreaker is.
Well, the thing is, Pittsburgh did beat Indianapolis, so if Pittsburgh wins, essentially, I think they get the 3rd seed.
Well, no. I'm talking about the 5th seed though. If Pittsburgh loses and they get their 6th loss of the year, do they still have the 5th seed, or does San Diego jump them, or does Baltimore jump them if they won?
I don't know. Well, I think Pittsburgh might have the advantage over. I don't even remember.
I think the Chargers actually have the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they might. There's a lot of a lot of tiebreakers.
I think Pittsburgh has the tiebreaker over Baltimore though. So I think if Baltimore is there, they would get the 6th seed. Well, but I think the Chargers win and Pittsburgh loses. I think the Chargers get the 5th seed then.
Yeah, that might be the case.
And of course, if it's Houston or Kansas City,
those teams, they need a lot of help. They need to win, and then they need such and such to lose.
Yeah.
And
Kansas City, I think, has a better shot because they're facing San Diego, so they can actually knock out one of those teams there.
Yeah.
Grant, Houston is facing Jacksonville there too. But Grant, Baltimore losing to Cleveland now, especially now. It sounds like Connor Shaw, the third string guy, is going to be playing for Cleveland because Manziel's out for the year.
Yeah.
Johnny Football lasted 2 games this year.
Who is this?
And only one full one. And Hoyer has a hip problem. Shoulder injury, so he might not even play.
Yeah.
It would have been Hoyer, based on the fact that Baltimore just got destroyed by Casey Keenum in Houston. I would have been nervous in that Baltimore game now. But now it's Connor Shaw. I don't know how Joe Flacco and the Ravens blow this game here. I see how San Diego could lose to Kansas City. They lost earlier this year in that. And like I said, San Diego does have some problems this year as far as injuries go. So I can see that happening. But I don't know how Baltimore loses to Cleveland this year. In this game here. So even if San Diego loses, Baltimore, I'm assuming is going to win. So I don't see how, even though I can see Houston beating Jacksonville, I see how San Diego loses. I don't see how Baltimore loses.
Yeah.
But things happen. Things happen though. But so we would have, let's see. So Indy would be the 4th seed. They have that locked up pretty much no matter what happens. Yeah. They have the 4th seed locked up. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati there. If it's Cincinnati, Indy, that's going to be interesting there because Andy Dalton has gone. This will be his 4th straight playoff game. He's 0-3 so far.
Yeah.
But he's also facing a Colts team that has a pathetic defense.
Right. Yeah.
No
running game.
No running game. Andrew Luck. He's not afraid to throw interceptions this year.
Yeah.
So and Cincinnati after that performance against Denver, they could be a very dangerous wild card team possibly still yet. So. Especially if Dalton gets that one win, if he can get that monkey off his back there, maybe then he could turn it around this year and turn into this franchise QB that some people believe he is probably. So now we have the 6th seed now, pretty much, or the final playoff spot in the AFC. We're down to 4 teams: San Diego, Baltimore, Houston, Kansas City. San Diego wins over Kansas City, they end. That's it. It's done. If they lose and Baltimore wins, Baltimore's in. If they lose, Baltimore loses, and Houston wins, Houston's in. If San Diego loses, Baltimore loses, Houston loses, and Kansas City wins, Kansas City's in.
Yeah.
So Tyler, who takes the final playoff spot?
I think Cincinnati's going to win this week, or not? San Diego.
San Diego. Because you picked Pittsburgh earlier in the week.
Yeah, I don't know what
earlier. So
I had a bit of a I just had a bit of a
San Diego.
Somebody owes us an explanation.
I think against Kansas City. Yeah, I mean, in recent weeks, Kansas City, they've just been, I don't know, they've been dropping the ball.
That offense has just not been gelling.
Well, yeah, not in the entire season, not one receiver on that team has a touchdown. That's hard. Yeah. That's like mind-boggling. Yeah. But so, and Kansas, I think San Diego's determined after the comeback that they had against.
Which saved the playoff season pretty much.
And then in overtime, even though the guy from San Francisco fumbled, and then that helped out San Diego, but I think San Diego's determined. I think it's a revenge situation for them against Kansas.
It's the same deal as last year. You beat Kansas City, you're in the playoffs again, pretty much. But except last year they had to get a lot of help last year, but this year not so much.
Yeah,
they're in control of their destiny. I can kind of agree with you just because I also am not like Kansas City too, but the fact that they beat them earlier in the year, and Kansas City, it's the same Kansas City team pretty much. Yeah. Nothing's changed with this Kansas City team here. And I don't know. It's just there was a part of me in that San Francisco game was saying, I just did not like the Chargers that much.
Yeah, obviously they started out pretty bad, but later. Rivers had 3 interceptions in that game, but
let's just assume though, because I can kind of see where you go San Diego, but let's assume they lose. Does Baltimore at least get the job done
against
Connor Shaw? It looks like for Cleveland.
Yeah, I think. Oh well, they beat Cleveland. Yeah. They beat Cleveland. To me, I think Baltimore beats Cleveland. No question.
It was a close game early in the year. Grant. That was when Brian Hoyer was playing solid football. And it's not going to be Manziel or Hoyer. It's going to be Connor Shaw. And I think the guy's also a rookie too. So for him to be in that spot, I don't know how. Yeah. Once again, unless Baltimore blows it against Houston, they look bad against Houston.
Yeah.
It was kind of sad because there's a part where they thought for a while Baltimore could be a dangerous team in the AFC, but now it's like they might barely make the postseason.
Right. Yeah.
So okay, so pretty much we're convinced it's not San Diego. Baltimore's a lock, pretty much.
Yeah,
we're not giving
it's
Houston.
one of those.
We'll put it this way: Houston is going to beat Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Probably. Although Blake Bortles look pretty solid against Tennessee, but
Yeah.
we'll see there. Bill O'Brien, though, not bad though. 9-7 record for a team.
They beat them, they go 9-7. That's about I mean, I think that's about where I had them. I think maybe that's where you had them too. 8-8, 9-7.
So pretty much Kansas City's out pretty much.
Yeah.
We probably would stop after Houston. We don't see. Actually, I probably would stop after Baltimore there, but even then, I cannot see Houston losing to Jacksonville. So I don't see the Chiefs having any shot.
Yeah.
Any shot at pulling it off. Crazy stuff has happened week 17 in that, so I'm not saying it's impossible.
Right.
But if I had to go percentages, it's my lowest percentage probability of happening here. I definitely would say San Diego is in the driver's seat, but if not, I can't see Baltimore losing to Cleveland with a third-string quarterback right now.
Yeah, I can't see that either.
Unless Connor Shaw just surprises the hell out of everybody and starts to, play very well, and all of a sudden it's a quarterback battle next year between 3 quarterbacks in Cleveland, which is not really a good sign either. So, like I said, I probably would go San Diego, but I would not be surprised if they lost to Kansas City again and Baltimore would just squeak in.
Yeah.
So that would pretty much leave us with, if it's going my way, pretty much, it would be New England, Denver, Pittsburgh, Indy, Cincinnati, and I'm going to go, I'm just going to plug San Diego in there.
Yeah.
So,
which is basically what I did.
Actually, interesting matchups there, I'd say. I mean, San Diego could go to Foxborough possibly if they beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh could go the Mile High. Indy and Cincy both got destroyed kind of by New England. Both when New England was on the road here. So I can't imagine doing anything at Foxborough, though.
Yeah.
That's where they're going. But there's we have the playoffs known as the second season. So we'll see what happens. So that's my predictions there so far.
Yeah, we'll see how. Yeah, I guess we'll see how those things play out, and then next week, discuss the playoff season essentially. Since we'll have all the, everything set up, and the regular season will be over as we know it. So. So yeah, I mean that's basically that for the show today, and I mean probably not going to be a whole lot of analytics on this Eagles game next week.
No,
given that
it's over. It doesn't matter.
I mean it doesn't mean anything, and whether or not.
And we already kind of did our off-season criticism.
Yeah, looking ahead. Yeah,
looking ahead at that. So the next time we're talking about Philadelphia is probably during the draft.
Yeah. Free agency, maybe.
Free agency draft.
We'll see what they do because there will be some options for free agency.
You did talk about the Pro Bowl. I don't know how many Pro Bowl is going to come off of this team though. Probably Mackley. You can make argument for.
Definitely Mackley.
Probably McCoy. He actually finished in the top 5 in rushing yards this year. I know people want to criticize McCoy for being underproductive this year. He's still going to finish in the top 5. It looks like.
Yeah, the thing is, he had a few really good games, and then there were some where he was just shut down. So that's the difference. Last year, maybe,
and yet he'll still be probably in the top 5 in total rushing yards. So he might get a bid to the Pro Bowl. Defensive side, I don't know. You make an argument for Connor Baldwin.
I'm sure he'll be in.
I think you can make a better argument for Fletcher Cox, to be honest with you.
Well, both of them, as far as I'm concerned, can go in there.
That's about it. It really for this team.
Yeah, probably.
Cooper's not going back to the Pro Bowl this year. There's no.
Yeah.
In fact, I think almost anybody who's a Riley Cooper fan just.
Yeah.
Because whenever he caught a ball, they'd be like, Coop!
Yeah.
Well, now it's probably to be like, boo!
Yeah. So yeah, we'll wait. I guess we'll see how that turns out too, and we'll talk about that too. So yeah, I guess that's it for now. I guess for TW Sports Talk today.
Yeah. Next week, our final 2014 one.
Yep. Yeah.
It's a new year then.
Yep, a new year.
New year, new season.
Yeah.
Probably a new coach the following year.
Playoffs, if nothing, if things don't get better. So yeah, so thanks for tuning in as always, and we'll talk to you next week as always on TW Sports Talk.